Our first guest in the program this morning, Bill Wood. He's a local certified financial planner and a lecturer at Wright State University. We begin by talking about the biggest challenges facing families now.
Well, there's a lot of uncertainty, Jim. We got the stimulus checks. Many of us got our stimulus checks last week, and that certainly helped people financially. To relieve the immediate stress, then we have the next round of unemployment coming from federal and state sources, and of course that's been delayed because of the huge number of applications that have been sent in almost immediately. But that's the next wave of the financial support for families. But really the long-term issue, and I hope that the long-term benefit of this circumstance is Ohioans appreciating the value of understanding how they spend their money, having a budget and an emergency fund. Hopefully some of this stimulus check will end up in an emergency fund. Small businesses are a different story altogether, obviously. They've got a number of different issues to deal with, both in terms of themselves and their business and their employees. In many cases, if they've laid off, those employees may have found other businesses to work for. When things after May 1st and the first round of opening up of our economy begins, even then, it's not a light switch. All of a sudden, things are normal for small businesses. They've got social distancing in there and a lot of other concerns for their employees. So small businesses have a whole new set of circumstances to be dealing with that'll be there for a long time.
Let's go back to the stimulus checks. If that check is coming to a family now, what's your best advice for them of what they should be using that for, where to apply it? Because this is a big decision.
Well, it's a big pot of money all of a sudden for many families. Clearly, for many families, putting food on the table and paying rent will be one of the first things to use the stimulus money for. But again, we have several more months, I think, of uncertain times, and putting some of that money back as an emergency fund would be a good idea.
Okay, let's skip ahead to those businesses here. What are you hearing now for those, especially small businesses, single proprietorships? What are they going through right now? Are they getting any leeway from not just their customers, but also the people they owe money to? That's a lot of pressure all at once.
They're getting it from all different angles, Jim. They have to navigate all of the various federal and state programs that are designed to provide support to them. At the same time, they're very concerned about if they're still open in some degree or another with carry out and whatever for restaurants and smaller shifts and things like that. Their business is going to be materially affected for many more months to come. And hopefully their employees will come back if they got laid off. Many of them found other jobs, and so there's a retraining that might be going on with small businesses. It's a very challenging time for the backbone of our economy, the U.S. small business.
So let's talk about the very, very small business groups now in the Miami Valley. The 1099s, the people who are just one or two employees, it's just themselves. There's not a flood of help, at least initially, for them. Do you expect that some of them are going to be on the brink? In other words, are they not going to make it?
I think many of those very small businesses are not going to make it, unfortunately. I just don't see that they have the financial wherewithal to make it through the next 4, 5, or 6 months until we get back to what might otherwise be a normal environment for them.
Can you give them any advice? If they're struggling, can you borrow your way out of this? Because we know it's going to end at some point. We just don't know what that point is.
Banks would like to be accommodating to those small businesses, but banks are banks, and they have their risk criteria and things like that. I do think that this next round of federal government money to small businesses will be necessary to keep those really small businesses afloat. And of course, navigating the red tape to get to that money will be difficult for those small businesses, but they'll get better at it. Because it's going to be their lifeblood for the next 6 months.
Let's talk about the stock market. It's been up, now down, then down further, then back up just a little bit, then down, back up. That's going on while people are trying to figure out what's going on with their 401k.
True.
I've heard some people say, I don't even want to look at it. If I'm not retiring in the next year, it's not worth sleepless nights. But how are you advising people, especially?
Well, so two things. So the market itself, and then individuals. The markets don't like uncertainty, and certainly we have a whole lot of uncertainty going on now. The markets want to try and understand what's going to happen next week, next month, next year, and anticipate the effect then of this virus as we conquer it eventually. And as the market gets information, then tries to digest that information to predict what the future will look like financially, then they get another round of new information and they try to digest that. That's what's creating this volatility in the market. If you those with 401ks, if you're fortunate enough to still be employed, the best strategy is to continue to contribute to your 401k and to contribute and to invest those contributions. It doesn't do much good to put it in cash. Everything's on sale now. If you have a job and you're contributing and stay invested in your 401k. If you are laid off, resist to take any money out of your 401k. If it becomes an absolute necessity, then a loan would be a better option than the distribution, because that way that money is now out of your 401k and you don't get a chance to pay that back. But the idea, the concept is, as we say, wash your hands, don't touch your face, and resist the temptation to touch your 401k.
Just have about a minute left. We're talking with Bill Wood, certified financial planner here in the Miami Valley. Your best advice for those consumers who are tired of this emergency, on edge because whether themselves or somebody else in their family is unemployed right now. Your best advice is what?
Well, Jim, everybody's concerned. Have I had it? Do I have it now? Does my neighbor have it? The economy needs to have that question answered for us before we're going to feel comfortable in being out in the world and enjoying life as we used to know it again. I still think that this is a good time for families to revisit their budget and understand how they spend their money, so that the financial stress over the next several months as we work through this virus will be hopefully a little less, as people make good decisions based on their budget about how to spend their money.
Thank you, Bill. That's Bill Wood, a certified financial planner here in the Miami Valley, also a lecturer at Wright State University. Bill, thanks for your time.